Morning guys, welcome back to my art studio. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and here on my channel I like to share what I get up to in my art studio. So yesterday when I was talking to you guys, yesterday was Tuesday, that was the recording I put out for you guys, and today is Wednesday, and I wanted to share with you yesterday the process of me putting together some of my leaflets that I put in the artwork that I create, the originals. And so I finished that and I have them here. Let me just check that my microphone is on. I like to check that the light is on. Let me just check that. Yeah, it's on. Right. So yeah, I was working on these yesterday, and so I shared that with you. And here is another little example. I'm always doing this because I'm needing my reading glasses now. Actually, the lower part of this is for reading. But yeah, I just want to make sure that you can see this example. Is a green one. I really love that. So I went through all of them yesterday. Variety of colors were used to emboss the wax onto these uh, leaflets, and I really like the way that they've turned out. There's such variety in them, and they are now ready. I did 20 of them, I said I was doing yesterday, so that's that done. I still have something else to do to these, and then they will be ready to go. So that's what they look like because of the wax stamp on them. There's like one side is slightly higher, but yeah, that's fine. I'll just put them in these containers here, and they'll be ready to go whenever I'm ready to package some new artwork. But yeah, this morning I wanted to share with you guys some time painting watercolors, because that's been one of the fun things I've been doing recently. And I think I mentioned that to you as well a couple of days ago, or last week maybe. And so I thought today we should do that. So I'm going to get into this space here that I like to film from the top down and organize myself so that we can see what I get up to. So I'm going to move you over to this. Let's just, yeah, I'm going to move you over to these tools here, and then you'll be looking down like this onto this table here at what I have laid out. So let's do that now. So I'm just gonna take you off. So this is what it looks like top down, and I am trying to figure out which of these I'm using. This is actually my daughter's pack of her coloring pencils, and I ended up sharpening the wrong ones yesterday, so I've sharpened hers. Mine is here, and I'm still gonna have to go ahead and do that at some point. Just need to move some things around. So how are you guys doing today? I, as usual, have dropped the kids off, and then I've come straight in, and I am just going to work on some painting with you guys. So this is a sketchbook I use for a multitude of things, and that's what I'm going to be working on today. I also have a collection of drawings in here that I found while I was tidying yesterday. I don't know if I showed these to you, but these are some that I've gone back in and started working on with coloring pencils to finish off, because they weren't finished before. This was in watercolor, this one. So I'm going to be working on a sketch. I could do a sketch today and then we just get into that. I don't want to take too long, so I really want to just get straight into it. This was another one from the palettes that I created recently. This was an idea I had to create something like that on as a painting on paper as well. So I'd kind of put this girl here, and this was the idea, was to paint on that. So, and then I love this one as well. So I need to finish this off a bit better because I really love the way that it came out. And this is what I'm saying about my references. I'm going to start making my references a bit more towards the realism aspect. I don't know if that's a good idea, as I said before, but I like kind of merging them, but I'm feeling like I want to get more precision in certain areas. It might not be all of it, but yeah. I might still keep it loose. It's just to see how I can slowly keep training myself. So I want to be able to be seeing and looking and really enhancing my skills. So I'm always trying to see how I can do that. So I'm going to put these away. I really like this one as well with the butterfly there. So I could start by actually sketching a brand new character, because what happens is that I get very precious about the ones that I already have. So I really like this one as well. So this was like watercolor as well. And I've trimmed it down. So I'll probably frame this as well and have that ready for sale as well. So let's get straight into this. I'm gonna, as I said, I'm using my daughter's coloring pencil. Let me see, what color should I use? Right. I'm gonna use this one. It might not be as clear. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. Let me see how I can do this. And I'll push this back a bit. So let me see if I can time how long we do this. Well, we'll see. Let me see. I'm trying to think of a way of seeing the time. I'll just keep looking at my watch. So let's say I did this for 15 minutes, and we'll see how far we get down with that. Sketching and painting as well. So I have some watercolor here. It doesn't look as pretty as it could, but this is how I have squeezed them out in the past, and so I can use those. I'll just put that on that, and I'm just going to get into sketching first. So let me start with this. So when I was younger, I used to just use my imagination, because I would look at artists like Picasso and Kandinsky, all these guys, and I was like, well, they could scribble stuff, so I'm going to scribble things too. So I would make a rule where I would scribble 5 times. That was the number I decided to use. And then I would try and make a picture out of that. But so I did a lot of my images, original images, in that format. That was how I introduced myself. This basically, I put a portrait here already, so it's to just work with that. But that was what I did as a kid to start myself off, going, well, if they can do scribbles, so can I. And that was my read on my initial introduction into what artists could do. I didn't necessarily pick the route of realism. So this might be really light for you. It takes a while sometimes to... The thing is, as I said, yes, this is going to be a watercolor. I am very heavy-handed with my watercolors. I am not like... I mean, if I wanted to take more time, fine. You know, I really wanted to be gentle with my artwork and begin. But because I use different mediums, sometimes I don't mind if I'm a bit heavy-handed, because I just feel like I'll correct it with another medium like acrylic or something. So each character always looks completely different. I'm adjusting our eyes quite a bit here. Angles matter as well. I mean, the way I'm sitting is going to affect how I do this. There's all sorts of measurements about where your eye should be with your mouth and things like that. Or like the end of your eye with your nose. So there's all sorts of generic rules, and I obviously have not kept any of them. So that's why each of my characters, I feel, just have their own personality. It's because they are basically being given their own unique face, for sure. It's not something that's repeated anywhere. Though who knows, someone one day might come to me and say, oh, that looks like, you know, my auntie this, and well, that'll be interesting. And sometimes I feel some of the features are too close to other areas. Like I never really measure the distance of the eyes. that much with. So I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think of how I feel this should look. Cut into a bit more there. And I'm kind of hurrying as well because I've got you guys here. And as I'm saying, I am trying to expedite it. So, right, there's a lot of things I want to add in here. I like to add my symbolism sometimes, so I'm going to go into that. I have this thing about, this actually is not one of them, but like the card deck, you know, you get the clubs, hearts, spades, what's the other one? Diamonds. So I usually would put that here because for me it's almost like the same idea as in the past. When I had my empresses, they were kind of empresses from different backgrounds, different kingdoms, and they ruled their world. And so I wanted to differentiate them. So anytime to do that, I would end up putting those symbolisms to say that this is the queen in this environment, and then storytell. You know, tell about this specific queen's kingdom, which is so interesting because that's queendom. So I don't know how clearly you can see this. Let me just check that you're still recording. So yeah, lightly I'm trying to add the elements I would usually add in my pieces. And it is very quick. And then I want to dive into watercolor after that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just laying this out so we can see the mapping of where we're going with things. So I like to do the hair like, sometimes it is the idea of afro because it's like clouds, and I could, if I wanted, add little, you know, much tinier curls, which I was thinking about. So like clouds, making the hair into clouds, and big clouds, small clouds. And I like to add birds. This bird I add in, and I get a lot of questions about why am I putting a bird in here. And when I started doing this, it was mainly with like animals and looking at symbiotic relationships and in nature of how animals live side by side, and some of them work together. But then also when I now started adding it into my images, it was a thing of like thoughts, like what we think, you know, our personal private thoughts. That was what these birds came to symbolize. And then also like when I do like this, like tendrils coming out of the mouth of the character, these tendrils for me, then they then lead into like areas like the water, or, and then, you know, I have like a bird, like I'll have like a swan or something, because I like swans. I don't know, they're very majestic, or not angelic, but very majestic, just the way that their necks, I just feel like they're just very elegant. Okay, I'll put this beak going that way. I need to look at one of my references for this to get the swan right. So yeah, so majestic, elegant. I feel like there is a symbolism behind all of the things that I add to my work. I'm still discovering why I have that interest in some subject matter and things, and it's like I get revealed to me almost every now and again. It gets revealed. So I've got these tendrils that come out of her mouth, and for me it's about speaking what you want. It's about speaking into your future, about our words being able to bring life or destruction. So for me, my characters are speaking life. They're speaking like a positive into the future. They're never about destruction. And so I end up linking, you know, beautiful things like nature and a whole range of things. So that is what these tendrils are. And also they remind me of vines. And there's a lot of symbolism behind that, of being connected to each other, connected to, like, connected to God, or connected to those around us as well. We're never just by ourselves. And so I love that. And then sometimes I'll add like these kind of, they're like either cobblestones or lilies. And so sometimes I'll add like a lily. Or is it a lily? What is it I'm calling these? Like lily pads. Sometimes I love adding those as well. And like with the water aspect going on here. And so yeah, this is some of that. Then I've been adding like butterflies recently, and butterflies sometimes are like the same for me as maybe owls. I think sometimes I place them in like a messenger, like they're coming to share information or something. So let's put a butterfly here. And the best part for me would be when I got to a point where all of these subjects, these characters that I put in my painting, become actually like a standard of iteration, like a way that I would really love to see them. Because I feel like that's one of the things I need to resolve for myself. It's like I feel like I rushed these things recently. I love flowers. I like to add peonies as well, or roses. So in here in the clouds, sometimes I will add like a peony in here. At least that's what I think it looks like to me. And then work on that. I just love nature. So, and then I'll sometimes throw in like a bee. So it's like just surrounding everything, just is surrounded with like nature. So yeah, and I'm trying to remember. And then I like to add a bothy in between all of this, because, and then like hills, like landscape. Because I'm in Scotland and I really love seeing them when you drive, you know, like in really rural areas, and you see them in the hills and the mountains. So they symbolize like basically just home within all of this. And then I like to put some trees beside them. So let's just see. So that's what I've got there. I think that's roughly the 15 minutes of sketching time that I had. Her eyebrows are kind of coming in a little bit here. So yeah, this is a simple, like, quick. There's one other thing I've been adding recently in this aspect of home. I've been trying to bring in a little bit of my still life as well. So sometimes I will throw in like a scene where there's like a flower vase. So this is like a little bit of an extra thing that I've been doing, because I've been saying on and off on my channel here that I'm trying to consolidate a lot of the themes that I work on. And so I'm trying to bring in all of these elements into, just make sure that I'm in the, bringing all of these elements into my painting, like all together. So the more that I'm throwing it together, the more that I feel it's starting to merge. And I'm just like, I just have to do it. You have to practice it until something clicks, basically. So these are some avocados. I love avocados. Have that there. Cup of tea. I love tea. Just make sure that, yeah, I'm in view. Cup of tea, and so my mug here. I like cake, so sometimes I will add like either a cupcake or two. I think I'll make this easier and make it cupcakes instead of like the big yummy strawberry kind of cream cake I like to add sometimes. So a couple of cupcakes. I do sometimes like to add a cat in here. So let's just throw a little cat in here as well. Just the cat facing this, like it's the back of the cat. It's not like facing, just make it easier. The cat is just, is back there. So the cat's there. And we're just looking at the back of the cat. And let's give him some whiskers as well. So it's storytelling, all storytelling. There's one more character that isn't in here that I usually add, and I'm gonna add him here. And that is my stags. So I'm gonna try and get to a place where my stags become, like I'm saying, a bit more, possibly more realistic, but I do create a lot of abstracted stags. So I'm just gonna put in here. He might still stay like this. He might just be an oddity in the whole stream of things where he is just still abstracted to a certain point. And yeah, that's my stag here. So I've added everything. Let's go to watercolor. So now I need to have like brushes. I have some brushes in here. Let me just get them out. And this is how I end up making a mess because I start moving everything everywhere. I have a whole range of brushes. Let me just put that back in. I'm just going to go straight in and start trying to work in some areas. This is like a free-for-all, so we'll see how it goes. I love working in blues and things, but I want to start using like my colors and really playing around with like even the face and things like, and this is not watercolor paper that I'm using, so that's how free I am being with it because I don't want to limit myself. So let's see. I want to go into like the shadowy places and start adding some color. So I don't know how far I'll get with this today. I just wanted to start, you know, adding color and painting with you guys today because I've not done it for a while. So maybe the next one will continue painting this so that we see some progress in it. So for maybe tomorrow, I will continue with this. So we see some progress. Because as I said, it's like to try and do a daily share and to introduce like some of the things I do in the studio. So I want to do some green. Some of this is saturated. And as I said, remember, sometimes it will be that I can always add another color, like with either, what do you call it? Like with acrylic paint or something, or collage over areas. So I am never restricted by what you see. Never, never, never. Trying to use different greens in here and be expressive as well. Like the water for this bird is going to have some blues in it. Put some blue in here. Use the tip because you know the watercolor can bleed as well, so I am trying to be mindful of that aspect. Trying to add maybe some shadowy areas, but like I said, it's like I feel like I'm drawing with the watercolor, like with my paints. I feel like that's the way I can get color down, and then I start adding the shadowy bits or the lighter bits, and And then you can go into reds like burgundy. I like to add a lot of like magenta colors in as well. So I haven't had breakfast yet, so who knows if my tummy's going to start rumbling soon. I feel like it's on the verge of doing that. Some days I feel like I get hungry a lot quicker. Don't know what that's about. But yeah, so this is just me like going in and, as I said, kind of almost sketching with the watercolor again. This is all made up. You saw me like, you know, come along and sketch all of this. So for me to then restrict myself on how I color it, I should maybe have a color story or something. That would be one way. Or like you can add things like splashes and things like that to make it interesting. There's just a whole range of things I've been wanting to try out that I haven't done, and I am in the mood to do it. And I've also realized I did not put my apron on for this, which is not necessarily a good thing, so I shouldn't splash too much. Let's see. So I'm just dotting myself around here. I want to add some pink to the mouth area. And also I can come in with color pencils as well after all of this. So that's another fun thing that I will look forward to doing. Add some red. I want to also add some orange in places. Okay, that's not quite. That's my shell here making noise. I'm just going to turn that over so we don't repeat that. So slowing down a little bit here because I'm thinking quite a bit. But it's like just trying to add colors and build it. And obviously I can get darker and darker depending on what I want this character to look like. And then I'm trying not to go over this too much because, as I said, it's not watercolor paper. It is mainly just a drawing paper, but trying to think what I'll use for her eye area. So I want to add some more color here, and I'm trying to work out what to do. I'm just dotting around and adding. This orange isn't coming out the way I think it should. Also, because I want to add a variety of colors, I'm moving around. So I want to make my, let me just make sure that it's in scene. I want to make my pot here like a green. Think what green. Actually, what I'm going to do is put some water on it first. And then introduce colors in. Maybe speckled. That's an idea. Then this handle goes up. So yeah, I could maybe take some days to, like, you know, paint this in. Lightly build it up. I've got color pencils I'm planning to use after this as well, so going a bit quiet because I'm trying to think of what I'm doing, but I'm trying to look at what I have on my actual screen. Like trying to put in colors in here. And the more of this that I do, playing around with watercolors, is just fun. It's also another way to inform myself, like for when I'm using my oil paints or when I'm using my acrylics. Watercolor is another kind of like experience. So I'm gonna add some blue and this pink. I want to get like a purple up here. And up here. So it's just going to keep building layers and layers. So this is how far I've gone. I might leave it here for today. It looks very interesting. And then I'll just keep adding bright color because and this is all part of like, I wanted to originally work with my coloring pages and use watercolor, and that hasn't happened because of the printing issue. So if you don't know, I'm creating coloring pages, but the ink from my printer keeps bleeding, so I am basically putting it down to coloring pencils. So maybe tomorrow I can add some coloring pencils to this as well. Maybe that's the way I go with it. And then I can do watercolors again. So I'm trying to bring out the outline of this swan. The whole range of movements and around my bee here. Trying to add some more water to keep it fluid and flowing. So yeah, let's see. I think I'll leave that for today. It doesn't look that bad, and I'm not leaving it very strange. So yeah, I think that'll do for today. But we can continue another day, maybe tomorrow if I am so inclined, if I don't think of something else to share with you. But you can see how that started, and I'll work in it again with some more coloring pencils. And I've built my subject there from the discussion earlier on, and it's just to build the layers. So I want this to dry before I come back in to do anything else. So I'm just going to take you off this view and then just have a quick last chat and then let you guys get on with your day. So that was fun to do. Also, what I could do while I'm painting that as well is to lift it up and to get some drips in there as well. So I can always do that. But it was fun doing that. And I wanted to finally share some actual creative time with you guys. And so I did. And tomorrow I might add some more of that again. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to do. But I am going to probably end up pre-recording some things because of some projects, as I said, I've got coming up. So that will be interesting to deal with. But yeah, I'm just gonna go and have some breakfast as well and get on with the rest of my day. So please find time for yourself to create artwork and enjoy yourself. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be what I'm doing. You don't have to paint. You can do other things, but it helps so much being able to create artwork. For myself, it helps me a lot. I am enjoying it immensely, and also sharing it with you guys, like a little snippet each day, is also really awesome as well. And I'm hoping that this works a bit better as a format here on my channel than me, trying to figure out what to share in weekly and then kind of losing track of what I said, the week before, because that's what's been happening with me. So I need to learn how to adapt to what works better for me. So this is helping me remember, because I'm able to hold the memory from the day before, which is a lot easier. So yeah, I'm going to go off now, as I said, and eat something, but enjoy your day. And if you've not been here before, my name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and I love to share what I get up to in my art studio. Thank you so much for spending the time. Please do subscribe as well, because that would be awesome, and more people can get access to see what I get up to here in the studio, and the ideas and just the simpleness that you can put all of these situations into. It's not like a big mystery of how we are able to organize ourselves and to create. It's not easy to do it because not everybody has that time, but then you have to make the time. Like, I'm having to make the time to have the space to create, because then all these things you see behind me or in the studio wouldn't exist if I didn't start a little at a time. So I've always just done something creative, always, and it's helped a lot. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.